going to be setting up the high flow nasal cannula by MaxTech. A couple things you need. We would need a 50 psi high pressure source to power this system. I have already got this hooked up and plugged in. We have a plug system for our heater here. The plug will always go into a red outlet. The red outlets are on backup generator in the hospital. So the backup generator will power the power system in case the power goes out. We've already gone through the calibration for our oxygen analyzer. So what do we need to do? One, this is the Fisher-Paykel 850 heater. The supply hose, which is on here, this is the heating chamber, will be on a connector. You take that off, pull it off, typically slide that on. This is just a spring load, pushes down, push it down, on. I will go over the full workings of the heater when we get into the humidification systems. You will then take your water bag that you get from Central Supply or from the supply closet. This bag is 1 liter sterile water. This has a spike. You pull it out, and then we'll spike the bag and hang it up. The humidification chamber has a float in it so it does not overfill. Right now we're just setting this up. You have a main gas on-off switch. Let's see if we can get a better picture. Right here. Just like a zone valve. That's on, that's off. On, off. We have a high flow meter that goes up to 60 liters per minute. Typically you're going to be running this about 30 to 50 liters per minute. We have our oxygen analyzer, we have the patient output, and we have the input from the room that this device will suck up room air in order to dilute your oxygen down to the exact FiO2. For that one, we'll need a bacterial static, viral static filter. We do not want to get bacteria and give to the patient, so we put this on. These filters are typically changed every 24 hours. You will then have a supply system. This hose goes from your blender output to your heater. So the gas is coming out of here blended, goes down into here, into the chamber, and then to the patient. Then we also have our heated wire circuit. It's hard to see on here, but you see those little lines? Looks like candy cane stripe lines. Those are actually heated wires to keep the gas warm. That will go on your output. And you have your patient interface. Your patient interface looks like almost like a pendant nasal cannula or a reservoir system. This is a high flow system. It goes on just like this. This is a high flow system, so a high flow system, remember, meets or exceeds the patient's inspiratory demand. Now, when we use this, we have a single pigtail. You can use a double pigtail, but we have a single pigtail here. This supplies the power to the circuit to keep the wires hot. Now, this is the really hard part to hook up. Yellow goes to yellow. These are your temperature probes to monitor your temperatures in your chamber and everywhere. So this one looks like it's broken, but it is not. It's missing some metal. Now this one's also hard to hook up. Blue to blue. Now it's just a matter of short temperature probe to the short area, plug in. Then the long temperature probe, the single probe, goes to where the patient is. Right there at the end, right before it gets to the patient. So my circuit is now completely set up. There are different patient interfaces. This is another type. It all depends on the manufacturer as to what type you use. So then, what do we do? Well, the doctor's order would say provide so many liters per minute at certain FiO2. The top knob adjusts your oxygen. Now this is also hard because the top knob actually says O2. The bottom knob has a triangle, and that's for flow. So I'm going to open up my main chamber. I'm going to set this at 35 liters per minute, because that's what my doctor's order says. And then I'm going to deliver this, let's say 40% oxygen. Now the Max Tech minimum FiO2 is about 35%. It will go up to close to 100. And it's just a matter of titrating and playing with the FiO2 knob until you hit 40%. The other question is, how does this work? Well, you have an on-off switch right here on the bottom. It says on-off. Turn it on. What this is telling me is that I have no, I'm going to silence it. I don't have any, I have an alarm. This thing is not hooked up. So this tries to make it foolproof for you. There. If you notice, my alarms went off. When that was not hooked up, it's alarming. It'll flash. I hook it up, so it's telling me now you're set up. It'll also alarm when your temperature is too high, too low, or you're out of water. Right now, there's two lights here. We'll go over it in more detail a little bit. You have invasive and non-invasive. We want non-invasive. It causes a lower temperature, more comfortable to the patient. Okay. We're running at 39.8% oxygen, 40 liters per minute. I have my patient interface here. It's running. Eventually this will get warm enough, nice and toasty on a non-invasive. And then I just set this up like you would a pendant, like the Oxymizer nasal cannula. And that is it. And it is on my patient. That is the high flow nasal cannula.